Hello and welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel. I'm your host, Tamara Calder Richardson, and a happy Valentine's. I know it's coming up soon in just a few days, but this is going to be a Valentine's special talking about relationships. It's funny, a lot of my spiritual friends, they don't want to talk about that, but that is part of our life and it's part of our spiritual journey. The good ones, the bad ones, the indifferent, we're learning, right? Our partners are learning, we're learning individually. So I wanted to have something in this area of relationships, but something fun. Before I introduce my guest, I want to tell you, please subscribe, because that way you won't miss anything. You got to subscribe. You got to do that. You got to click that little bell. And also make sure you like and make comments. And you can always contact me if you have questions. My email is down below in the About information. And also consider being a member. If you join as a membership with a love leader for once a month, which is the higher amount, $24.99, we have as low as $2.99, then you can meet with me 90 minutes to 2 hours a month as I do spiritual intuitive coaching with people. And it is fantastic, our love leaders. So thank you for being here. Now on to our guest, what you've been waiting for. Today we've had one before, but we have Stephen Weber, who's a near-death experiencer, and his partner, Kathie Plant. She's a shared NDEr, and you can hear all of their story that they do have. That is episode 134, about really in depth about their shared NDE. Is very fascinating. We will, summarize a couple things, and then of course Stephen Weber's experience on episodes 132 and 133. You don't want to miss it. It's really a very inspirational, amazing story. It really is quite a miracle story. So make sure you check that out. But our guest today, they had a shared NDE. They have an amazing relationship. It's a beautiful love story, and they should be so proud of how this came together organically. And they are here. Matter of fact, Steve just picked, I feel a little guilty, Kathie from the airport, because she's been gone for some time. So we won't keep them too long tonight, because she's been gone for a while taking care of a family member. So thank you for being here.
Hey, how you doing, Tamara? It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. So wow, your love story. And I also want to make sure that people know about your book that they can purchase, which is The Place Between Here and There. And you're also working on another book too, you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. The name of the book is called Lessons Learned, and we expand upon many of the experiences that I had and Kathie and I shared in The Place Between Here and There. And we relate it to regular life. Like today's topic, we're going to discuss relationships and love and how that affects you and how it manifests in your life. And our new book, Lessons Learned, teaches those lessons, at least from our experience. Everyone has different experiences, and there are many, many truths. So this is just one path that we're sharing with our with all the people.
Well, sure. And again, I'm just so excited you're both here, because you haven't seen each other. You literally haven't seen each other in weeks. And Steve, you picked Kathie up at the airport and then, rushed right here to be on this. So guys, appreciate them. They're very special. And soon you'll see how wonderful they are. But there are so many spiritual people that I have met that are really wise. They have awarenesses, but sometimes in the area of romance, maybe not so good. And they don't even want to talk about it. They're like, yeah, everything else is great. No, I really don't want to talk about that. So, but I think you both are a shining example of really friends. I think you should like the person you're with, and as obvious you like each other, It's true. I mean, right? I mean, shouldn't that be your best friend who you're with?
Yeah. It's so true. You have to grow together. Really, that's the key, is that when couples don't grow, it's so easy for people to live separate lives now. You have separate friends, you have separate texts, people are on their phone. It's such a challenge. It really is that to grow together and realize there is your together time, but there's your apart time. Not because I have to get away from that person, just because it's an essential part about anybody's life, to be able to experience things as yourself, but also as a couple.
That's true. That's true. But and I think one bonus about when you're older, what does that mean? Like, you're not right out of high school or college. When you're a little bit more mature, you learn what you don't want.
Mhm.
That's just as important as knowing what you do want, and you know more of yourself, who you are, and so you can bring a more competent partner into the relationship. So I'm wondering if we should start, because I love your story. You have such a great love story. Honestly, you really should just shout at the top of the mountains, because it's
Mhm.
so organic and beautiful. How that you were just such supportive, loving friends. And
Mhm.
I love when Steve was saying the story again, watch episode 134, when you were saying that you were friends for a long time and talked about how that evolved. But when you leaned over to kiss Kathie, you're like, oh gosh, is she going to slap me? We've been
So true.
friends.
And
And
she
you did.
didn't.
She did. And you made it there. So,
Yes.
but tell us about how, because, like I said earlier, pre-show, the only person you can really talk about that or you're an expert in is you. So,
Mhm.
that's why it's important for me to have, I feel, these spiritual guests, because together we can learn from one another, from our experiences. We don't have to go
Mhm.
through everything. We can learn from other people what to do and what not to do. So I know that your friendship started as an acquaintance, and then it developed. Do you want to talk about how your love grew, and like, as just in relationships in general, how what you feel is important and necessary? And I say that with everybody's always working on their relationship. It's not like it's a done deal. It's not like it's a done deal and you walk
It's a
away.
garden. You have to take care of it. You have to water it. You have to weed it. It's a garden. Your relationships, your spirituality, it's a garden.
And there's your little rose right there beside
So
you.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tamara, I'll be glad to share a couple of things, about our relationship. We did talk about in the other episodes, and I'm sure
Mhm.
you'll have links in the description
Yes.
for people to go to.
Yes.
But when Kathie and I first met, I was very different than what we are now. Kathie was always Saint Kathie. She's every once in a while she has to change the batteries in her Halo, but other than that, she's good. I was Biker Steve, and she actually, no matter what she said in the book, she must have left this part out. She actually walked to the other side of the street when she saw me the first time, because we were like in like a
What?
deserted area town, and I saw this lady walking on the other side of the street. I was like, lady, you got to come over here. And I did have a big dog, and I had long hair and Harley tattoos and everything else, and she reluctantly crossed the street, and then we started talking, and then that was the start of our friendship. It really was. We really became very casual friends at first. I was a local historian, and I gave tours of this abandoned psychiatric center that everybody loved. And I also gave nature tours. And Kathie just seemed to come on all the tours. She really must have liked our history, because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
she,
yeah, that's exactly it. Wink, wink. Yeah, that's right.
she really did.
Okay.
No, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it really was. And then Kathie and I, we started an organization because we love dogs, and we wanted to walk our dogs, and the state had these rules, and so we wanted to work together with the community to create a dog park and all these other things. So we put together this network of people, and we did that for a couple of years together, and we really got to be good friends. And that was the extent of it. For many years, we would meet each other like by chance, and sometimes with a group of friends, and we'd all take the dogs out. We'd go hiking, and it was something we did for a decade or more. And but then the accident happened, and I was in a near fatal motorcycle accident. And that was what the book is about, the place between here and there, where I went to this place of learning and enlightenment. It wasn't like I saw the light, and a voice said, oh, your time isn't ready, then you have to go back. No, it was a very prolonged and very intense experience, because I was in a coma for a long time, and I think my body was thinking it was dying, and I was going through a death process. But because I was in a coma and they were keeping me alive on machines, I think that's why perhaps the experience was so intense and so long. But when I was in that experience, Kathie and I connected. I really
Yeah.
wasn't aware of it at the
So
time.
beautiful.
Yeah, but because I was going through these learning experiences, and some of them were very tough. and I felt there was this energy there. There was this lady there who was praying, but I really couldn't hear the words and what she was saying. But it was the energy. It was like the prayer was a pathway for this loving and healing energy. And I was so sure. I was so sure that Kathie had come to visit me, and I'm sure she was in the hospital room with me, but she wasn't. She was in that place between here and there, and that was the connection. And so when I came back a month later, I texted her right away, and she was my friend, a buddy. She was a buddy, and I sent her a message, told her I was, there's a place beyond this, and we share a connection that goes beyond this world. And it was then I started to realize just that is that Kathie and I do have a connection. And it was through that experience of that understanding together and her guidance, because it was a long way to help me to understand what had happened to me and that it was real. And that Kathie really, because she had spiritual training and I did not. And she provided some guidance. I was stubborn, and rightly so, because I have my way in life, and I'm an engineer and I'm a scientist, and these were all new things to me. But as time went on, we just couldn't deny certain things that were happening. But and most of all, the things that were happening between ourselves, because that the things I learned in that place, there were many people in my life, and now I had a new understanding and a new awareness, so that people who I thought I was close with, I really wasn't close with. It just might have been a situational thing, or
Okay.
and then other people who I may not have noticed at all, I realized that they truly are insightful and understanding people. And just, and so that awareness, my awareness red-pilled me on so many things. And it really red-pilled me on Kathie. It really helped me to really see her true spirit. And that's when it started.
Well, what's interesting when you were talking about that, because they kept you in a coma, we have the technology, all the medical technology to keep people alive, or maybe, in the 1700s, 1800s, we couldn't do that. So it sounds like you almost had, not only a life review, but you were having teachings, and there were understandings. And I like what you said, that people you thought were important, you were stepping back, and people that you'd barely noticed were going, wow.
Yeah.
I should have noticed you. And then, but I love the fact that you heard someone praying over you, and that you felt them, you knew their intent, and you knew who it was, soul to soul. But when Kathie kept, what was it? Did she call you? Did you call her, or did she call you?
He texted me.
I texted her.
Oh. And said it was you. Didn't you say it was you? I know it was you.
Yeah, he said, I want to thank you for visiting me when I was out, if you know what I mean. I've been to a place where I learned that everyone is connected, but that you and I have a connection that goes beyond this world. That was amazing.
Beautiful. And were you shocked to know he knows that's me? Were you shocked?
I was kind of shocked, because I've always, in my past, I lost my mother and my twin brother, and that was like my true loves, and it was very devastating to me. So after that happened, I really went full hard into the NDE books, the SDE books, to try to gain some understanding about where they were, how to connect with them. And the more that opened my awareness, the more that ability to connect with them happened. So I had regular dreams, or what I thought were visitations and stuff. So when Steve was in the coma, I knew he was in a different place, and I couldn't go to the ER, wherever he was. Where were you?
I see you.
I see it. Yeah, because I wasn't next to kin. So in my head, I would talk to him, because the minute I found out that he was in a coma, that's when I had that moment, like, oh my gosh, this is a friend, but it's not just a friend. This was a a connection that I had. We always had a developing connection that was platonic, but so special that I couldn't imagine life without him on earth. So that's when I said, Steve, pretend I'm in the hospital room with you and I'm holding your hand and I'm saying the St. Jude prayer. And I'm going to do this every day. And I did. And
I was certain she was there. I was certain she was there. I really was. I was certain she was there. Because as I started coming out of the coma, I was so certain she was physically there. And yeah, it was.
But the thing is that I think is so beautiful in the story is that he didn't have any spiritual awareness prior. So he didn't understand.
Well, not in the same way you did.
That experience. So when he came to and he validated that he heard me, that to me was the ultimate validation. Because when you communicate with spirit, you're communicating somewhat telepathically or through visions or through voices. So you could always question that. Was that my imagination? Sure. But when he came back and he said what he said, that's unquestionable. And that's when I think I realized that he was more than I thought he was.
Really? So this is good. So it was really that text that was like, I have a second chance. I got to get to know this guy. So way before he tried to kiss you, you already were like, I'm interested, but you didn't let him know.
Well, no, because the fear that I think we all have friends that are of the opposite sex.
Well,
if you take that to the next level, is that a detriment or is that a bonus? Because what if it fails? Then you lose the friendship.
No,
so a bit of time went on that I had this feeling, but I was afraid that, we shouldn't cross that line.
Yeah, but I would say a couple of things I wanted to add about that is that first off is that when she was praying, when I was in the other place and I felt her energy, it was a very beautiful spiritual energy, and I felt that. But I also knew that she loved me. No, yes,
your spirit form. You couldn't.
No, know that.
I did.
Oh my God, that is so cool. Why? That makes sense.
Because and that's why she may not know why she felt awkward.
I got it.
Because her higher self knew that she communicated, and now I knew. And but like in my physical self, I had to keep it separate a little. I don't know how to explain it because it was very like I was still coming. I almost was like in two places at the same time, like I was transitioning back, and so I kind of felt why she felt awkward, and so I was kind of like feeling her out, and like does she know that I know?
How precious.
But it was funny because that we had other people around. So and then by the time we were finally alone again, it was like during my rehabilitation, and she was helping me. Is that I didn't think about it for at least a while till we started seeing signs and synchronicities. I was so focused on getting better. And Kathie's she's an athlete. Her brother was this immense human being, and she competed with him all the time, and he gave her no quarter at all, no mercy. So she's pretty tough. So she really helped me rehabilitate. And it was through that process, while she was rehabilitating me physically, the spiritual thing was going on, and I was starting to understand things. And then once we start to see those signs and synchronicities, which just weren't deniable in the spiritual sense, but also in the physical world, that certain things became apparent. So that was number one. And number two is that leading up to the point where I really had to know if she was feeling the things that I was feeling, because she was saying things leading up to that you could take two ways, and she never had any innuendo. Like our whole friendship relationship, there was never any innuendo or sexual connotation or any sneaky, silly joke. It's not like we didn't laugh and joke about things. We just didn't do that, and it wasn't like it was something that was on our minds. We're just friends. I don't know how to explain it. We're just friends.
Yeah, right.
And then, but all of a sudden I started to think like, wow, there's some innuendo in the things she's saying. Well, you could take that two ways.
And you know what? This
What?
is jogging
Is that
my
true?
memory.
Is that true?
I know what happened. He was into reading at the time, and he asked me if I read 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh
And-
my, okay,
What?
Steve, what's up?
He did.
Really?
What?
Okay.
And that started that. So
Okay,
don't
okay,
play
so,
innocent with
uh-huh.
me.
Tamara, I think these are vicious
Mhm.
lies. She has selective memory, I think.
No.
Yeah,
But-
okay.
but-
That's
but-
not something you say to a friend. Okay,
But
all right.
if it
Kathy.
really did happen, she said yes. All three
Yeah.
books.
That
And she
is
quoted
so
me a few lines. So let's keep it real.
But I love what you're saying when you're going back, when you're in, we are spirit. We just happen to have these vessels. They're, these meaty vessels.
The meat suits.
Yeah, it's true. And so,
Beautiful.
yeah, and I appreciate it. I'm glad we do, but we are, solids and meat and flesh and all of that, but we are spirit, we just happen to have that too, but we are spirit. And so when we're in our spirit form, we hear, we know, we feel, we sense, we beyond perceptives of here. And there's no way you couldn't have known that she loves you, because that's how they read us. It's just, with me being a medium, they know my intentions. So they would know spirit people would never let me read people that they love if I had a weird intention. They know the purity of your heart. And so it's just how they're made, how spirit people are made, and how we're like that if we really listen. But there's no way you couldn't have not known that she loved you. But, really, that undercurrent of it's a very spiritual thing. It's something that the soul or the spirit person knows before the mind knows, because the mind's going, well, I don't know, I like them a lot and care for them, but I don't know. But don't you agree? And I think this with most people, that the spirit knows I love you already, but they're trying to give explanations. Well, they're trying to reason it through, or
That's me.
to that point yet, or I don't know, let's just see how this thing shakes out. But I feel that's true with most people, is that you already know you love someone before you know you love someone.
Well, I think that you loved me before you knew it, because every time I went on one of those tours, there were like 50 people, but the whole time you were speaking, you were looking in my eyes on every tour.
That might be.
And I thought,
She's
wow,
a genius.
that was interesting. And I think it maybe was his soul recognizing
That's right.
my soul prior to the experience that our souls knew was
You already knew
coming down the road.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I tell you, I had a little crush on her, but it was a friend crush, but I guess it was the first time she brought her Girl Scouts to like one of these. I had this, I ran this group. Yeah, I called it the Women's Empowerment Group. I had a young daughter who really I felt needed some female influence in her life of ladies who were successful in the broader world and just dealing with all the challenges. And so I set up these talks with these young groups, and I brought in political leaders and business leaders from the community. I was on the school board on the time, so I had a lot of influence in these communities. And so Kathie would bring her Girl Scouts, and so I'd have them speak before the group. And I remember the first time I had one of these leaders there, Kathie brought her group, and that was like really the first time I really saw her up close since our first times, first chance meetings. And I was just so amazed at how she like took charge of her kids, and it was definitely, I said, like the way she helped me with her therapy, it was half Sergeant Slaughter and half Mother Teresa. She's like that with kids.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Is that she rallies them together. She could get a whole group of kids like to do the same thing, and like she really had a way, but it wasn't by being mean or being overly assertive. She had this gentle nature about it where she just kind of like, I mean, eventually you'd have to kick them back into play, but she created the circumstances under which the kids can find their way, and you know, she let things happen, but also tried to influence them in a way. And it worked. It really did. And I just admired that, because I had a young daughter at the time, and I was a man. I'm just trying to figure out how to be a mom and dad to this beautiful young lady. And so so at the time I was really looking for guidance, and Kathie brought me that guidance at a very critical time.
And you complement each other, but I do think, and you're right, you're both right. I mean, I think that the soul does recognize ahead of time, but maybe it's a glance, or maybe it's whatever. And I'm not talking about just physical attraction. I mean, obviously you've got to somehow be attracted to someone, but I think it's a lot more than that. I think it's more of an essence of the person, because I've seen plenty of people that you might call attractive, but I think they're horrible. I mean, because they may have, and they're, you know what I mean? They may not be kind spirited or what have you. So the kindness and consideration and all these things. So it's really the whole essence of a person, and I think that's important. So you eventually, kiss. I guess you started dating, and you haven't stopped, and here you are writing your second book, and moved from New York to Florida. So this looks like there's quite a commitment here. So maybe speak to people that are watching, that if they are in a relationship or want to be in a relationship, what are the ingredients or the things that you feel would be the glue to stick together? Or what are things? I'd like to hear from both of you, the male and the female energy, like in this relationship, what you think, because we still have challenges, but what you feel is important.
Yeah. One thing I really critical, and this is, in my opinion, has come from wisdom. I mean, learned experience that it's really, it's not like, is that, you have to grow together. I mean, it really is the truth. Don't start walking down the path of having separate lives. Once you start walking down that path, you've hit a fork in the road, and it's really tough to get back. Is that always, you have to have your separate time, because you have to grow. We talked about that a little bit early, but you really need to grow together, and just never start walking down that path. There are things you're going to do together, things you're going to do separately, but realize you're not going to be the same person when you're 50 years old as you were when you're 20 years old, and you're going to want to do different things. And so if you don't keep that in mind with the person you're with,
that's true.
Just be careful. Very few things are worth going through that fork in life. Right, baby? What do you think?
Well, I'll say something different, so we are not monotonous. I first I think that people have to learn to love themselves. I think a lot of people have this shroud of unworthiness due to whatever happened in their past or past relationships. And we have to realize that we are love. We are all a part of God. So we need to understand that when we get that into our heart and we live love, we attract love. Like attracts like. So if you want love, you have to be love. And I think, once we learned, Jesus said love is the greatest gift of all. All the masters said that. I mean, they had this, it's so simple, but it's so hard sometimes. And we have to love ourselves. We have to love others. We have to love humanity, because we're all raising each other's consciousness, and we are these spiritual beings. And that's why we're here. We're here to give love, to receive love, and ultimately bring us into a higher existence on the planet. So I like to believe that when I look in someone's eyes, whether I like them or I dislike them, there is love in there.
Yeah, there's a spark of the God in
Mhm.
all people, even people that are angry or don't understand. There's plenty of
Yeah.
people that are angry that really is tiring because that's a low vibration when they're "Arr,"
Mhm.
and I've hung with them and later on they go, "Wow, it just changed, being with you and talking with
Yeah,
you." I'm like,
yeah.
"Well, I'm exhausted today, but okay." I'm glad
But you know what? You did a good job because it's the compassion. You need love and you need compassion and understanding because we all make mistakes, even in love, in relationships. And I feel like what you said before in the beginning about a lot of your spiritual friends don't like to talk about relationships
Mhm.
is because I think that when you're two spiritual beings in a relationship, you're a little more discriminating about each other because you
Okay.
have this higher level of awareness. So you expect more. So I think sometimes a spiritual relationship, although it sounds like it's going to be flawless, it's
Mhm.
going to be quite challenging.
Yeah, it's people make mistakes. In fact,
Mhm.
I
In fact, he makes a lot.
Oh my
well,
gosh.
no, it's very true. It's because that I'm really good at learning from my mistakes, so I like making a lot of them.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's funny. I'm going to use that.
And,
Well,
and it's true. It definitely, and in all honesty, it really is that. And one thing that we do talk about often in our relationship and in our upcoming book is that so much of it is you have to, in order to love and forgive others. Kathie touched on the love. You have to love yourself, but really you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself, especially, and part of that, you got to get rid of your baggage. If you're going to start a new relationship later in life, because things happen, people change, and they don't grow together. Sometimes it happens. And so you always have to keep in mind is that
Well, this is
oh
we
gosh.
good.
no. The one thing I wanted to say was that when I'm an energy healer. So I think energy is a big thing. And I think we all understand what
Okay.
energy is. And you could feel a love energy from somebody. You could feel a fear energy, an anxious energy.
Could
It's
feel it.
whether you know it consciously, you feel it energetically. So there are times
Mhm.
when Steve and I might have a little bit of a spat, nothing significant.
Just
Oh,
being
really?
kind.
I can't imagine
But
you being disagreeable.
I we could hang up the phone or we could storm out of the room and not end well. But the minute I leave, I I try to send love to him.
She does. She does. Like,
Like
yeah, she does. Because so many times, like about 10 minutes later,
yeah,
I
and I'm like,
feel,
oh, it works.
she's right. She does send the healing energy.
So I feel like if we want to experience love with somebody, a good way to do it, whether you got to do it physically, but you have to do it energetically as well. So spiritually send that, like I communicated to him when he was on the other side, that was all from the heart center. This
Mhm.
is where when we live from here, we attract here and we manifest wonderful things.
So and
Great.
so true. And Tammy, so many times I don't know if it's from the accident or the glorious results of a misspent youth. So many times when I sit there and I talk about something, I get very intense about it. Then I get another thought, and then I forget what I'm talking about, and then I look to poor Kathie to try to bail me out. And most of the time, she does it great. But I forgot, before she helped me out,
No,
I forgot what I was talking about. But now I remember, so
no.
I want to get back
Okay,
to
go
that
ahead.
point.
All right,
Is that
cool. You've got high energy, so I just go with it. It's
yeah?
fine.
And Kathie helps me with these things, and she really
That's
does, and
sweet.
that's the love part.
Yeah, it
But
is.
really, what I was saying, I was talking about forgiving yourself because it's about so many times you're starting a new relationship in life, and you're carrying baggage with you. A lot of times that baggage is how you feel about somebody else and how they treated you and how terrible that was. But often, either consciously or spiritually, you you have your own baggage with that, the things that you feel bad about. And not only in that relationship, but other relationships. And you really, truly have to forgive yourself. Not in a way like, oh, I'm so evolved, I'll just forgive everyone, I'll forgive myself, but truly understand, to let that go. It's a process and it takes time. But one of those things, if you don't do that, starting a new relationship without introducing that energy into your new relationship,
Right.
it may be a challenge. It may be. So really forgiving yourself, because everybody, you're here to make mistakes and learn from them. I'm great at making mistakes.
Oh,
And
yes.
it wasn't until I had the life review in that other place that I had always had to face really tough things. And so it's very easy in life for me to face my ridiculousness. Someone who hasn't had that, it may be more difficult for somebody, but I really think that's one of the true keys to really finding love in life and your relationships, is to forgive others, but most of all, forgive yourself.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how many people that are grown-ups that walk around hidden of not feeling good enough. I mean, it's so
Right.
chronic. And I'm like, look, this is the way that good enough for their job, good enough for their spouse, good enough for being here. And the way I look at it is this: God, source, father, mother, father, whatever you want to call it, the divine source of all, put us here, put you here, put me here at this time for a reason. God doesn't make mistakes. Put us here right now. And if God felt like that we're good enough to be here right now, well, then we should too.
Yes.
That's all we need. We're breathing. We have the gift of life. Let me just tell you, from an NDEr to some NDErs, if God doesn't want you here, it is your time to go. You don't even need to be sick. You don't need to get hit by a car. You can just not wake up. And if you are meant to be here, you will be brought back. You will be here. And because you are not done yet. I always say, oh, chicken in the oven's not done yet. Bing. Don't take it out. Stick it back in. It's not done yet. And, Steve, you weren't done yet. And you weren't done with your path yet with Kathie.
No. And we're discovering more and more each day, because that as we learn and grow, and that our awareness raises through life, that we see more things, and we're learning and being able to learn together. That really is the key, because that as we're learning together, she introduces me to things that I may not come about. And, I, in my very passionate way, I introduce her to things that she doesn't think about. And so, by both of us having this journey together and spiritually discovering, the joy of discovering our awareness together is something that is just beautiful. And I really believe it's when I communicated to her, we have a connection that goes beyond this world. That's really what I mean is, in the universe, according to Steve, is that the way I felt the energy that people come together is like there's this whole big cloud of energy that encompasses all of the consciousness of everything, of the whole universe. And when you're incarnated and you come down to earth, come down, whatever, but you come to earth, is that you're taking certain qualities, certain things, certain energy from this big consciousness of everything else, and that's encapsulated in who you are and the things that you are here to learn, and either through direction or through experiences. And so when there are two people who are so connected that I and Kathie are, is I believe from that spiritual everything, we're very close in all of those things in our experiences. And so when our energies are incarnated for this experience together, I feel that we have so much connection. Not so much in Stevie's world that Stevie and Kathie had another life together and here's Stevie, that our energy is so much linked together as separate people, but also as separate consciousness, but also as part of our shared consciousness and the consciousness that we share with you, Tammy, and everybody. It's all part of that shared existence.
No, I get it. And it's interesting because as I'm feeling your energy here, sorry, I'm feeling your energy. I'm speaking Kathie's language now, that, I can really see you're talking about the accident, but Steve, I'm just going to be bold here and say that you've probably been a handful for many years, starting from childhood, and you're like the ever ready bunny. And so you're kind of the, remind me of me, like the, like, hey, I got an idea and I'm trying different things. And then Clay's the grounded one. He's so-and-so, he's calming. This is the most beautiful, perfect thing. And that reminds me a lot of Kathie. So Clay really balances me out. I like being around people like me, but I could possibly want to choke them at the end of the day too. Yeah. Even though I like it a lot. But to be someone, it is nice to have someone that's complimentary. And that's, and it's what your soul needs. And I also, another thing that I want to get your take on this is that through life, if we live long enough, I remember certain people. I remembered a couple of people, well, more than that, I've had lives with, but I remember someone I've been married to before besides Clay. Sorry, Clay. But the thing is, it wasn't very good, so don't worry about it.
Be careful.
No, but what I'm saying is you have these connections energetically. And what I do is send it love and say, oh, thank you. Nice to see you again, soul. And then I just let it flow like a river, flow, because that's part of being in present time. My journey is here right now. My journey is with, my beloved Clay. Are you listening with him? So I know that. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that we need to complete. I remember exactly lives with him in the last. We need to complete this, and there's things we need to do together. And you can feel it. You can also feel, when you're done with a relationship too. It's kind of like a carnival ride slowing down. You're like, well, this ride's over.
Time to get off.
But God bless you.
Bell rings.
Time to go. And so, and that's okay too. And then there's other times that, the world, we're not all, most of the time I say, yes, we're creating, we're manifesting our life. We're manifesting a life together with our partner. But then, we don't know, we know at some point it's going to be one of our turns to cross over. We know that. And what I look at it in this way, I thought, oh, it'd be awful. Well, yeah, but then think about it. What is the whole thing? I'd rather love than never loved at all than lost. Yeah. And the thing to be in such gratitude and to see it with another soul and see them develop and I learn when I make mistakes, but I learn when Clay makes mistakes. You've never made a mistake, Clay, but when he has, I learn from that. And, it's a learning experience for me too. I make tons of mistakes all the time. I probably made about 5 today, but, you, at some point, you figure, well, what do you do? And you just go on. If that's life, it's, and it's humility. So to me, it's a joy being able to be with another person, to be vulnerable enough that you can, you're going to make mistakes in front of one another, and to be able to have someone to love you despite that, going, well, it's okay. You're learning and you're both learning. So I think that's important. And I just try to be appreciative, and it helps me in vulnerability with my spouse, to be vulnerable with other people, to learn to trust more. So I think it's a good practice for learning how to trust more when you have a tight relationship, because then it helps you trust many other relationships, friendships, and so forth. It makes me a better person in other ways. What do you think? Do you think relationships, if they're positive, can also help you in other relationships, like friendships?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we are in that beautiful relationship space of love, we're living as our higher self, and that vibration causes us to manifest better things in all aspects of our life. So we owe it to ourselves to first love ourselves, and then, love the person that we're with, because together we're stronger. And the thing that I love, remember that song from Tim McGraw about be the friend you want to be? Yeah. So it's like
skydiving.
Rocky Mountain.
I want to get copyrighted, but great song. It definitely teaches you about valuing life.
Be the person that you want to be with.
Yes.
So
be the person you want to love.
Yeah.
That's funny. Tim McGraw. Yeah, I've been watching that series he's had on Paramount. what is it,
Oh,
1883. Very good. Yeah, he's very talented. And
okay.
Yes.
yeah, very talented. But
I like
so
his dad too.
what do you say?
I like his dad too. He was a pitcher for the Mets.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
And it's true. But the thing about loving yourself, I just want to touch on that really briefly, is that if you don't love yourself and forgive yourself, you're creating blockages that are preventing you from understanding things in life. It really is true, because that you have to defend those things.
True.
And that's how your ego gets very strong, because you really have to try to let
True.
those things go and be able to face things in life. So if you don't have the confidence to love yourself and feel confident, you won't be able to face those things, because those things will attack that love. So you have to keep it strong so you can really grow. And really, that's how love is the ultimate intelligence, because in doing that for yourself, you're really showing the ultimate love for your partner, because you're making yourself better. You're making yourself, like Kathie was saying, the type of person that you would want to love, because you're healthy of mind, healthy of spirit, healthy of body, all of those things that make up yourself. And when people speak of spirituality, often they talk of your body like a vessel and stuff. And I understand that is a communication and to really emphasize spirituality. But in the same token, I also have to say is that your body is beautiful. It is the creation, just like your spirit. And as you begin to, at least for me, in my awareness, as you begin to understand those things and beauty, you understand the body is a beautiful thing in every form that it has. It is nothing to be degraded. So however your body is, it truly is beautiful. Not because, we're so open-minded, because it truly is. It's a creation of God. It's a creation of us. It's a creation of our shared consciousness. And so that's why it's so important to love yourself, feel comfortable about who you are. By doing that for yourself, you're helping your partner, because you're becoming that better person, that more aware person.
That's I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, it is something unsaid that probably needs to be said, especially I know a lot of women, they're like, oh, my butt's too big, or with me, if I eat too much, I start looking like Mrs. What's her name?
Kathie never says those things.
Mother Smurf, I'm like, oh Lordy, it's so sticking out there, and it's fun. And you men are like, oh, I don't have the 6-pack, I don't have this and that, but that's really not what it's about. It's funny what I find. Haven't you seen before? I think a great example, I know we've all seen this. Haven't you ever seen someone that may not even be that attractive, but they're so magnetic, they're so confident, they're so loving, they're so friendly, they exude really sex appeal. I think it has to do with your attitude about yourself and about the world, which makes you attractive. It's not really a physical thing. It's really not.
You're right.
Tammy, I got a perfect example. We live in this beautiful community. It's a new community, and so everybody's new, and so we're learning everybody. We have this couple next door that they must be 25 years separated in age, and they've been together for 25 years, and they're just, I don't know. You see the way they are together, and one of the partners is kind of age is riding them pretty tough, and the young lady, she's very young in spirit. I mean, she's our age, but she takes care of him, but they do things. She puts him on a tricycle and they ride the tricycle together. She takes some things and she's actively engaged in those things, and it goes to show you those are the things that really, really just matter so much amongst everything, because you really see that love and that light, and it may seem odd to you as an outsider. You look like, how could they? I remember the first time I saw them, I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. But now I see them, it's like, wow, it's so cool. It's all a question to Yeah, it's
Well,
beautiful.
it's in how she expresses love, and I think we express love different ways. But it's usually the little things, and it's also the memories we share. I mean, one thing being a medium, it's always they always talk about simple little memories, things
Mhm.
that like touching their daughter's hair when they were young, or
Braiding the hair.
or braiding their hair, or little teeny little simple that you can never get back, or just
Yeah.
holding hands, or it's always very very sentimental memory type things. It's never is a big house brought up like, well, remember we used to have the biggest house in the
Oh,
none of
no.
that, none of that.
Mhm.
It was always you were with me in the hospital, you held my hand,
Mhm.
you whispered how much you love me. It's always those things.
Never
And
said you really took good care of that lawn all those years. Really appreciate that.
And they never said you had the
exactly,
best six pack either.
it's
It was
true.
all something from the heart.
Kindness,
Mhm.
and really, and that's the key.
You
Kindness.
know, I have to say this is just really pressing on my heart. One of the sweetest things that I've ever heard years ago, it was one of the, maybe 15 years ago. It was one of the first times that I was doing public demonstrations, and it was downtown Charlotte in a really nice area, but it was beside a comedy place. And so I was done and I did my thing, and a friend of mine, a shaman lady, helped me. And we had an audience of sofas. It was nice. And I was done. And all of a sudden, Spirit just lit a fire underneath me and said, go to that woman over there. So I went over to the woman. I would say she was in her 80s. Probably. She looked frail. I would say early 80s, and frail, thin. And she was with, I didn't know if it was her daughter and a grandson. I wasn't really sure. It ended up being the neighbors, but that's what it looked like to me. So I ran over and said, I need to talk to you. There's a man that needs to talk to you. And I ran over there. And then she looked very wooden, kind of like serious, kind of, half there really. And not because she was ill, she just like she didn't care anymore. And so she's looking around, she goes, I don't see anyone. And the woman with her, she goes, no, 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 that's not what she's talking about. And the man came through talking about, he presented his best self to her. He had on a suit. He described the kind of suit he wanted to look nice for, and said it was your husband of years, and talked about how he's with her still, and what she wears, her little nightgown she wears, and how when she can't sleep, she gets a warm thing of milk, and how he's with her. And then he talked about how he gave her roses on her children's birthdays and her birthday, and said, you still have that Barbie waist. And that woman, I mean, I could just cry thinking about it.
Aw.
Woman's face went from wooden, like she didn't even want to be here anymore, to she started giggling like a schoolgirl. She started going, oh, he always used to say that. And I told her how good she still looked. He said, you look so good. He said, you're just as beautiful. And that woman literally skipped out the door. And so he, in his spirit eyes, he saw her as the exact same as when they met when they were younger. And I just thought that was beautiful, and how she had given up. And when she realized he was seeing her do everything at her condo, he was seeing her do all this stuff. She goes, oh my God, he's still with me. And that he had so much tremendous love. That's the good news too, is that our love here goes on, and our love doesn't die. So we want to make sure we nurture it, because it will go on. I mean, it's not an end to it. It goes on.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful, Tammy. We, so much of having a relationship is overcoming crises. You experience different things in life. So sometimes you're going in a crisis in your relationship. Sometimes there are other things that are unrelated to crises. A lot of things are things you have to learn to let go of. We spoke of how you bring baggage with you and release those things. And one thing that we've been using our meditations to help us get through those things, but also to share. Like most people, there are many different types of meditations. And really so many different ways. But the meditations that Kathie writes and the ones that we use in our relationship and we share with people, they're all done with the idea is that it is to reinforce certain thoughts. It's like a meditation with an affirmation in it. It's affirmation and meditations. And so with our new book that we've been working on, Lessons Learned, is that we're including more meditations in our book. And so Kathie wrote a meditation just for today, for your show, for your show here today, Tamara, is that
wonderful.
No, it's truly because that once Kathie starts thinking about it and she starts putting things into focus, especially when it comes to these types of beauty and love issues, is that she can really begin to help people focus on some of those things that will help you to find love in your life, and not perhaps either heal now and be able to learn and really get the beauty in your next relationship or your current relationship. And so if you think it's appropriate, I don't know if Kathie feels okay about it, maybe she could guide everybody in like a nice breathy relaxation for maybe 10 minutes. And it's the first time she's going to do it, reading it live and stuff. So
wow, I'm excited. Yeah, I would love for you to do that. Before we do that, I have one quick question from someone, and then I would love to end with a beautiful meditation. One quick question, just because I don't want to ignore it. Adriana said, "Do you?"
Oh, Adriana, yeah, I remember Adriana. Hey, how you doing?
She said, "Who could forget Steve?" I'm like, nobody.
Oh,
do you think it's because you did the 2-part story on you? She said she remembered. She follows NDEr stories too. Do you think it's possible to grow spiritually without going through the lows of life? Honestly, don't know if it's possible. The lows of life, hardship, losing people, losing jobs, this and that, blah blah blah. Loss, pain, suffering.
No, I don't. Because like when I was in that other play, the place between here and there, is that the life review was everything, and really some of the most painful things I went through were the most enriching and the things I learned the most. It really is true. Like losing people and like those things are so difficult. It wasn't until I had that experience that I understood that, because I would carry these things with me. And so really, Adriana, I really believe in Stevie's world is that don't look for bad experiences. Life will give you plenty of those. Manifest the good things in life. When the bad things come, you got, in my opinion, to if they hurt, let them hurt. But there has to be a time. There should be a time when you can begin to release your blockages and really begin to understand what has happened to you and your situation and how to truly learn from it. Because if not, really, truly, there would be fewer reasons for having a physical experience. Because really, what I learned is that in the other place is that I could contemplate really beautiful, great things in that other place, but I couldn't make mistakes there. You can't. And so when you've had a physical incarnation, you can look back either while you're still in physical or when you're in spiritual form. You could review those mistakes, those situations you never would have gotten into, but it gave you such tremendous insight. So Adriana, in Stevie's long way, I say, you have to experience the ups and downs. Steer steady boat, roll with it, cry when you want to cry, laugh when you want to laugh, just experience things and just learn from them, and try to be nice and don't hold a grudge.
No, you're right. And some people are addicted to suffering. I think that you can have less, but part of it's just being here on this earth plane. You're going to have some of that. That's part of why we're here to learn. And I know that you lost a son. And you have such the best you can, a positive way of, looking at that, that he's around being, in spirit and so forth. And you'll see him definitely again, but still going through the pain and the hurt and this and that. And, so it's not that to me that, you do understand people's hurt and pain and losses. And not that has to make you a better person, but I think it gives us depth of understanding when we have loss.
It made me a better person, Tammy. It really did. It really did, because that it's many things. It's too much that I could say in a short period of time. But I want to say this one thing, is that it helped bring things into focus. Like all of a sudden, like I understand like more things in life. Like although some things, little things can bother me, they bother me a lot less now. Like I could always keep things into focus. And that really is a gift. I mean, it really is a true gift is that once I was able to begin to work through the grief and the understanding and really begin to see my failures as a father and my successes as a father with an open mind and an open understanding. Everyone has failures and everyone has successes. And if you're so afraid of facing your failures, you'll never learn from them. And so, and so truly, oh, I miss my son so much. But once I was able to work through the grief, I am a better and more enlightened person. And I'm more able to be a better person for the people around me, not the least of which is my daughter and my beautiful Kathie and our beautiful Kristen and Sean, who just got, can I say?
You can.
Yeah, who just got engaged. You know, Kathie's beautiful Kristen. And okay, you want to hear a true love story, but one more quick true love story.
Okay.
Kathie's at a crystal store. I met him at a crystal store. She turned around. Yeah. She sees this young kid, this 20-year-old kid at a crystal store who's checking out crystals. And so Kathie goes walking up to the young kid and starts talking to him. And he knows everything about crystals. And she says, oh, my daughter likes crystals too. And she doesn't have a boyfriend. And so he was kind of like weird about it. And so over the next few months, Kathie kept on bumping into him, and they had a mutual, the person who owned this crystal store knew Sean, and they didn't. Neither one of them wanted to get together at first because no one wants to go out with someone set up by their mother. I mean, in some things.
That's funny.
But
yeah.
Kathie was very persistent, and finally they just said, okay, we would meet. Ever since that day, they've been inseparable. Sean has been like. I don't know how to. He has such a beautiful energy. It's like he just has a beautiful energy that is just. And Kristen, Kathie's daughter, is just a shining ray of light. Wow. And then now going to get married. And Kathie and I were all part of it, and it all happened because Kathie was at a gosh darn crystal store, and she spotted this guy, and she just knew it. She knew, and she was so right.
And this is the beautiful parts that we need to savor like a very good meal, because there are, difficult times in life. And this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that you just want to put a smile on your face and savor it and go, God is good. This is a good day. So that is an absolute beautiful, beautiful love story. So I know speaking of love story, I know you two haven't seen each other in about a month, so we need to let you go. So let's do our meditation. If we do a little meditation, I know you work very hard on that and you're very good at it. And
I'm gonna read it because I just wrote it literally 15 minutes before the workshop.
And we have to get her papers on.
Do I need this? You know what? I'm far away.
Okay.
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 All right, is everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd like you to get into a comfortable position, either sitting in a chair or lying down. Take a deep breath into your heart and take a deep breath out of your heart. Really feel the center of love within your being. As you breathe in, feel your heart swell with pink energy from the loving angels and ascended masters in heaven. As you breathe out, imagine this loving energy radiates into all the cells of your body. We call in Jesus, Mary, Buddha, and Kuan Yin, the masters of love that reside high up in the realms of only love and light. They are with us now, assisting in this meditation session. As you continue to breathe in and out through your heart, they would like you to first center on yourself. They love you, but they want you to know that it is most important that you love you. They are not sure that you always do. They would like you to imagine yourself as a little baby. Now imagine that you are holding your little self in your arms. Really look at your little baby self and feel the love that a parent has towards their baby. Feel that towards yourself. Feel that love in your heart. It is an amazing feeling. There is no greater love than the love that a parent has for a child. Know that you are worthy of that love, no matter what you have done in your past. On earth, we learn and grow when we make mistakes and learn from them. So whatever you have done, there is no guilt or shame necessary. You learned, and you are perfect just the way you are. Now imagine yourself growing up and becoming the person you are today. Know that you're at a point in your life in which you deserve love, either to enhance a current love or to find a new love. You are worthy, and you deserve all the love the universe can afford. The highest angels in heaven want to make sure that you feel that worthiness in your heart. They want you to know that one can only truly love another when one loves oneself, and you are so loved and so worthy. Keep breathing in and out of your heart center and imagine the love expanding so great that is almost exploding out of you. You are filled with so much love. You are a being of divine love, and when you walk in that truth and that confidence, you attract love into your life. Like attracts like, so love attracts love. Whether you have a love partner or want to attract one, imagine that your true love manifests before you. Take a moment to look into your love's eyes and feel like you are breathing in unison, the perfect union. Now imagine the pink loving light from your heart creates a rainbow that attaches to the heart of your love. And as you breathe in and out now, see your energy going to your love's heart and your love's energy going back to your heart. Breathe in love and out love. So feel this love perfection and know that you deserve it because you are a being of divine love. Now with your last few breaths, breathe in love and breathe out love and know that you are love. It is time now to return to your physical body. The angels and masters want you to know that they are always around you and sending you love and gentle reminders to love yourself, and that a miraculous love will be attracted to you. Now take a final deep breath and thank the angels and the masters. But most of all, thank yourself for being love. By loving yourselves and others, you amplify the love in the universe, and that is the greatest gift to all beings. So I thank you, and I wish you love this Valentine's Day.
Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, that was so beautiful. What a perfect way to end off. Oh, yeah, hearts, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you for your love, sharing it with all the people watching and viewing, to share a bit of yourselves, because that's why you're together, because you're both such a reflection of love that that you took the time to be with us and to share that beautiful message to other people. And I thank you, and I'm very grateful.
Well,
I'm
thank you,
grateful for
Tammy.
you,
It's so
Tammy.
good. It's so good to speak with you. It's so good to see you and Clay.
And Clay, we got to see
yeah,
Clay.
Yeah, Clay's a great guy. And just everyone, if I could just remind them, our book's available on Amazon. The Place Between Here and There. Lessons Learned should be out very shortly. And then we have our YouTube channel, The Place Between Here and There, as well as we have a Facebook presence, as well as our website. betweenhereandthere.org. That's our website, and that has the information, our videos, other great stuff on there. And so please keep in touch. We try to answer any questions people post on your videos, Tamara. We certainly answer everybody, and we give thoughtful answers. If someone asks a question, especially Kathie, she spends a lot of time answering questions, and we consult on them together, and we take them. It's just an honor to be able to participate in this, and we take it so seriously. It's a love and a light that we share, and that's why we love you, because we feel that from you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, and I do. I make a lot of mistakes, but I am genuine. I can say that.
You certainly are genuine and loving and beautiful and kind, and we really enjoy this. And we wish you and Clay a beautiful, happy St. Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, every day that comes before and every day that comes after.
Well, thank you so much. And you all are just a blessing, and I wish you much success and everything. And of course, you'll be back at some point, but you need a little time for yourself. And make sure everyone watching, watch the past episodes of 132, 33, and 34. And they have Steve, and then there's some with Steve and Kathie. So make sure you watch that. Happy Valentine's.
Thank you.
Happy
Valentine's
love and light.
Day.
Much love, much love. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. We did so